And the beauty in the story is I never once blamed her, no matter what, because I knew at the end of the day, she had her issues. And then I'm just really glad the last year of our life that we had a really great relationship. What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to sit down and chat with you guys about childhood trauma. I feel like this is a great video to discuss, especially with so much that is happening in the world, and just to be real with you guys. I don't feel like I get to do these types of videos like that anymore. So I really just wanted to share, especially because so much has happened in my life. And I think I'm a great example to just discuss childhood trauma and just, like I said, be real, open and honest with you all. And you just never know, this video can probably touch someone. And I think it's also so important to talk about childhood trauma because we don't realize how these things really affect us in our adult life. So just a quick backstory on me. Recently, I lost my mother in August. And then last year, I lost my grandmother who also had a helping hand in raising me. And then 7 years ago, I lost my father. So I really am what we call parentless. It does hurt. I mean, it's still a journey. It's like an open wound that just kept getting reopened because I was healing from one thing and then now I'm healing from another. Mentally, today is a great day. I may not look like it. I'm a little tired because my son has just been all over the place in school, but that's just life, right? But I just really wanted to chat because I was reading something on Twitter, and I'll post it right here so you guys can see it. But Dr. Khalees Leanne, she said, trauma puts you in survival mode. It makes you protect yourself. You become emotionally detached, mentally unavailable, and physically just there. Trauma isn't a reflection of you, but of the person who caused it. You don't have to make this your story anymore. And I think that's so important because I think for so long, I just blamed myself for a lot of the things that I went through. And that's why I really wanted to share with you guys, because my mom hasn't always raised me, you know, and I really wish I had the opportunity to get her on my platform before she passed away, but we just never got able to link up in that sense because she was dealing with her liver. But, you know, growing up, my mom was in and out of my life. She was on drugs. This was something that was known, you know, at the time as being a child. I really didn't understand. I didn't understand why my mom was always so upset or so frustrated or overwhelmed. And until recently, I learned so much about her that I really wish that I would have had known prior. And it made me understand her trauma along with my trauma. Growing up, my mom, she just, you know, I never blamed her because at the end of the day, that was always my mom, and my dad never once talked bad about her. But I just knew there was this thing that kept her away from us. She was constantly in and out periodically. You know, I would see her, then I wouldn't see her. And I just remember different things that went on, you know, as far as her discipline and just how she would talk to us. But again, never once let that affect me. And it just kind of sucks because I didn't learn about her until she passed away. Sorry, y'all. So I had to switch from my camera to my phone because my camera died. And I really wanted to do this video while no one was in the house. And yeah, the quality looks 10 times better on my phone, which is really weird. But anyway, let's get back into it. So my mom, she dealt with a lot, like I said before. And I didn't really know her full story until after she passed, when we got together with my siblings. And it just made me, it made me feel a way because I really wish she would have told us a little bit more about herself. And it just made me realize that she was also battling some things, some demons in herself and her own past childhood traumas that we didn't really know. You know what I'm saying? So it just made life, it just made me say, dang, I wish that, you know, she would have opened up or she would have told us. But, you know, so I grew up with a lot of abandonment issues, and I never really realized this till one day I was watching a YouTube video, right? And the YouTube video was just talking about like different childhood traumas. can't remember the person who did this, and they just started talking about abandonment, and it like really resonated with me. And I realized that I have like a shitload of abandonment issues, and I never realized why I'm so, what's the word, detached. You know, like I really don't have a lot of emotional side. Like, how can I explain this? So I didn't grow up in a household where affection was brought. And I also grew up in a household where it was also dysfunction in some sense before, you know, my mom was really out of the picture. And I never realized how all of that affected me until I became an adult and when I got with my husband. And the first incident was, you know, with my husband, I was just so angry. Like, he would do things and I would just be really angry. It would be like outbursts, you know? And I never really realized that how I was handling things was not the proper way. And like I said before, I looked up like abandonment issues, you know, different things. And it made me realize just how I am. It made me realize just like, wow, you know, this is how you are, you know, you act just like this. And so I had to learn to get my anger under control. And then I also realized that is a reason why I'm not emotional. Like, I get emotional, like I do cry, but like I'm not affectionate at all. Like, you know, that's not my love language because I was not taught that. I didn't grow up in a house where we said I love you. I didn't grow up in a household where we hugged. You know, I just did not grow up in that environment. So I never realized how it shaped me into being a woman. And the crazy thing about it is I'm the complete opposite with my children. Like, I'm so affectionate. I love you, you know, or hugging and making sure that they know that it's okay to say I love you. It's okay to express yourself emotionally. And so it has taught me in being an adult that this is how you handle things. But I just never knew. I just never really knew. And then looking back on my mom's trauma, I never really realized her own personal story and the things that she went through. And she didn't know any better, so that was just all that she knew. And it's not to like take away the way that she handled things, but you kind of get a better understanding of someone when you really dig into their trauma and you learn who they were. And it just makes you think, about a whole lot. And as a woman, a 28-year-old woman, you know, oftentimes I felt the shame of having abandonment issues because it's easily to get triggered and you have to learn your triggering points. I was reading an article, which I'll drop down below, guys, and it was just talking about people with abandonment issues, how the fear you get of like people leaving, like, you know, you try to overcompensate because you don't want that person to leave, or you just try to overcompensate no matter what. And just like sometimes you can be detached, and sometimes that's why you don't really have a lot of the emotional side or the affectionate side, because you didn't grow up in that type of an environment where that love language was spoken to you. So, and it just really makes you think, being an adult. And I have to sit at being 28, maybe young to many, but to me, I feel like, damn, 28, why the hell am I going through this? Like, I shouldn't be going through this. But I realize, like, I have to approach things in a different manner because my anxiety will start to kick off. And it's really sad that, you know, a lot of people don't know that their childhood traumas of feeling isolated or just feeling like you weren't loved really can hinder you in being loved. And that was me. Like, I got to the point where, you know, things were going really great and you don't feel worthy of everything that you're getting because of your life, your past life, and everything that you went through in your childhood. You feel like, I'm not worthy of this because, you know, you weren't spoken those things to you. And that's why it's so important to speak life into your children, so that your children can really know that they are beautiful, they are loved. And when they leave your doors, that if someone is trying to bully them or mistreat them, they know that what that person says doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they have self-love. And I never realized those things until, doing my own research and just learning more about me, you know, because at the end of the day, if I don't love myself, how can anyone else love me, or how can I receive that love if I'm not loving myself? And I had to realize that, like, when you come with a lot of abandonment issues, you know, you have to really dig deep and figure out your issues, your core issues, and what triggers you, and learn that what people say shouldn't trigger you. And I never realized these things, and that's why, you know, it's so important that we discuss this, especially being adults, because when you have children, you don't want that to be something that just continues in a cycle. You know, I don't want that to continue with my children. I want my children to know, like, you're loved, you know, you're worthy, and everything that you get, you know, it's like an abundance. Like, you have to speak a love abundance to your children. But I don't want to ramble too much. I just really wanted to discuss that, because if you are out there struggling with your childhood traumas and you feel like you are not worthy of your life, or you feel like you can't succeed because of everything that you went through as a child, the most important thing that I learned is I'm trying to remember if I say this right. I am not a product of my environment. You know, everything that I went through, I'm not a product of that. You know, I overcame it, and I didn't allow it to dictate my route. You know, even though I deal with things, in a way, you know, it's like, I'm truly grateful to be where I am, and I'm glad I didn't let everything that I was feeling when I didn't know what I was dealing with hinder me, because now I have the life that I prayed for, the life that I spoke life into. You know, I manifested, I prayed to God for, or whoever you pray for. And I have to tell myself and remind myself, like, Steph, you have worked really hard to get here, no matter what you went through as a child. And, you know, I really wish my mother knew how much she was loved. And, you know, when I told her on her deathbed, when she was in the ICU, you know, like, you no longer have to be the black sheep. I didn't realize she was going through so much, and you know, she would always tell us, like, everything that she went through, but she'd never go into detail. So yeah. And the beauty in the story is I never once blamed her, no matter what, because I knew at the end of the day she had her issues. And then I'm just really glad the last year of our life, like, we had a really great relationship, and I just, you know, and she knew she was loved. But, you know, people don't realize how your childhood can hinder you. I can't look at this. Like, people don't realize how your childhood can really make you sad and depressed. And my mother was really sad a lot, you know. She would never go into details, but she was very sad. So that's why I really wanted to speak on this, because so many people commit suicide. So many people, you know, fall behind the shadows, and they don't succeed to their best ability. You know, my mother was a straight A student before she got on drugs, which I later found out. I thought she got on drugs after she had us, but, you know, you just never realize these things because people hold them in. People, you know, that's why you have to be nice to people you never met, to people that you do know, because you never know what they are going through mentally and physically, you know. So that's why I really wanted to share this with you guys, because it's so important that we talk about our childhood traumas. And it's okay to go to a therapist. It's okay to confide in your friends of how you're feeling. If you feel neglected, not loved, it's okay. You know, you really have to just tap into those pieces and figure out what triggers you the most, and separate yourself from people who make you triggered, you know. And that's what I had to do. You know, sometimes you have to leave toxic environments in order to grow and realize your worth, and realize that you are